You know, I remember the first time that I walked, it was the very first day they opened up the church. And I remember on that guest card writing, I don't know why I'm here, I don't want to be here. You know, I am an imperial secretary of the Ku Klux Klan, and I don't know why I'm here. I was raped when I was 15, and I remember going to my mother and her saying to me, if you're pregnant, I'll never be able to show my face in church again. And just feeling like you were worthless. My mother was mentally ill, and she was very abusive in any kind of way you could imagine. And we would go to church on Sunday, and you know, I watched that woman pray and pray and pray for healing, and actually, if God had healed her, he would have healed me too. You know, it would have helped me too. He never did, you know, and I was angry. You know, your mother tells you that nobody's ever going to want you in life. You're just a disappointment. Because of my childhood, I really self-destructed a lot. I had no friends, and I was so angry, and I didn't know how to stop the anger. To hear your parents say they love you is very hollow when they're hurting you at the same time. As far as getting into the Klan, I think it was just because I was lonely. I was just lost, and you meet different people, and you know, for the first time in your life, you actually have friends, and it's kind of like any other gang. They accept you, they love you. People would call me every night, and I had a position. I mean, I was important to those people, and when you come from such a hard background where you were just always told that you were worthless or you were wrong, you felt good. You felt like you had some power. And then my mother killed herself at 26. When I was 26, I had just had my son. She had come out to see me, and 2 days later, she had shot herself. And then that made me angry. Where was God here? Where was God? Looking back, I could see how God pursued me all along. And he really got my attention when I flipped my car over in the accident. I wasn't supposed to be driving, but I decided that I was going to Kansas because I had some stuff to do down there, and I don't know what happened. The car just flipped. I woke up and I was hanging upside down, and the woman was talking to me. And I know that that woman was there, and she told me God still had a purpose for me. And when I got out, when they took me out of the car, and I asked where the woman was, and they said, there is no woman here. And I know that she was there. That was really the turning point for me. Well, I got to figure this all out, because if I still have a purpose, then what is it? Because I never felt I had a purpose in my life. And after that, after the car accident, it took me about a year, I think. And I was working at Arby's because I had retired, and this guy came in and he said, do you go to church? And it was like, oh, yeah. And I don't think I was very nice to him, but I don't remember. And he says, well, they're starting this new church up, and I would love for you to come. And I've got this card, and it's called Authentic Life. You just come as you are. And I walked in, and the first person I met was Jerry Peterson. I had not a clue what to do, because he reached out and he took my hand and he says, let me show you where everything is. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, Jerry was very patient with me because he knew I was scared. And he always made a point of coming up and saying to me, how are you today? Or putting his arms around me and, you know, telling me, if you ever need to talk about anything, I don't care what it is. But I remember walking in and everybody was happy. And I couldn't figure out why everybody was happy. I wasn't happy. And I know these people didn't have any better than I did. But I came back, and it took me about a year before I finally accepted Christ. And it's not easy, and it's there's a lot of tears, a lot of remorse. You know, a lot of things that you've done in your past that you're really ashamed of. So many people think repentance is just raising your hand or going to the altar or whatever, but true repentance is really being willing to give up everything to turn your life around and allow it to be turned around. Some of the things that I do now that I didn't think I would ever do. I didn't think I'd ever work at the food bank, because I just kind of figured people got what they deserved. I would have never gone to Bolivia. And I'm not necessarily crazy about little kids, but they seem to like me, and I didn't know what quite to do with it, but I've even kind of got a little fond of those little kids nowadays, I have a peace and a contentment that I can't even explain to people. Christ came into my life. I let him in. And you do have to just let him in. He's not gonna shove his way in there. He pursues you. And sometimes you don't like the pursuit, when you're hanging upside down in a car. He's safe, and for me, that's a very important thing. God is the very breath I breathe. I want him to be every word, every thought, because I can't live without him. I don't want to go back to that life.